Creative designers get their inspiration from anywhere in the world, but new designers and even seasoned designers sometimes need a well to draw inspiration from.
I'm Patti, and this is Elaine. We're jewelry designers here at Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. And we're going to talk to you about where we get inspiration for our work, and maybe that will help you spark your next great idea.
Get our email newsletter for beading news, sale announcements, new product announcements, and more. Link is in the description below.
We have some great questions about inspiration. So, number 1 is for Elaine. What happens when you don't have inspiration? What do you do and what do you look for?
Well, I go to the internet and not always the social media channels, but I go to look for new trends and what's happening out there. And I draw from that as well as toy store aisles. I look at toy commercials. I look at food commercials. I look at restaurants. That's because that's where my inspiration draws from. So I get my ideas kind of from everywhere.
That makes total sense with all the cute mini food and little toy pieces that you make. So does that mean those pizza earrings you made for me were from real pizza that you ordered?
It does. And that goes to show you your creativity and inspiration can come from somewhere personal.
Number 2, Elaine, this one is for you as well. Do you find inspiration in the materials you work with, or do you envision the design and then choose the materials?
Okay, this is a good one because generally, most of the time, I think of my design first, but it will also depend on what I have in front of me in my craft room because I really need to start using a lot of the supplies in my craft room. So, in my craft room, I have everything from resin and seed beads and everything. So I try to think of my design and seeing how I can incorporate what I actually have in front of me and try to use up some of my supplies.
So what you're saying is for you, it can be either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, very nice.
Number 3, this one's for you, Patti.
Okay.
Can you walk me through your creative process from beginning to end?
Of course, yeah, I love to. So my creative process can either start with a great focal that I've found, some beautiful beads, a wonderful finding, or an idea. And then from there, I have a very structured process about how I go about creating that design. I think it out and I let my creativity flow that way. Just sit and think and allow myself to kind of decide how am I going to create that wow factor for wherever this is for? Beautiful jewelry is fine, but I really want it to pop. That's always my goal. And then I really look at what theme or idea that I want to get across in the piece. After I think it out a little bit, which is always good to do, I then go to gather my materials. So I gather up what I already have and order whatever I don't have. So I have the physical stuff in front of me that really helps me see where it's going, see if the colors blend and the pieces are the right size. Then I will sketch it out. So I'll actually get out my sketch pad and I actually use little templates, circle templates and things like that to make sure I'm drawing it about the right size so I can see if the elements really go well together, especially if it's something I don't have in front of me yet that I've ordered. Once I have that sketch done, it really helps me see if changes need to be made or it can spark ideas that I hadn't even thought about. So I love that part of it. The next thing I do is if it's precious metal, I actually do a mock-up in copper, especially if it's something that I can't reuse like wire and it's all bent. If you use copper, you save yourself money and you can change that so easily. Then I make the piece and then I sit with the piece. I walk away, get some more tea, come back, look and see where it's at and decide, am I really happy with this or do I have creative inspiration to make changes?
So, Patti, when you're explaining all of your steps, I really appreciate how organized your steps are in process. Having organization, I really like having my ducks in a row before I begin my process. It really helps.
Number 4, this is for Elaine. Do you have any rituals or habits that help spark your creativity?
Yes. So I listen to a lot of late 70s, 80s music, mostly 80s. And what that does is it actually brings back my childhood and my adolescence. It gets my creative process and inspiration flowing. And I think start thinking about all the reminiscence of all my childhood foods, all the clothing styles, all the stuff that sparks my inspiration. And then I just use those memories to integrate into my design that I'm creating.
That's amazing. We're so similar in a lot of ways. I also have to get into that zone. I have to really get out of my head, out of my everyday responsibilities and everyday life, and just start letting the creativity flow. And I do that by listening to music. I'm pretty eclectic with that, all kinds of things. Podcasts, even an audiobook for a few minutes just to kind of flip my mindset. I get some tea, I sit down, and then my rituals begun. And I'm really in that space to be creative and let that happen.
Yeah. So what I was also going to say was when my husband sees me go into my room and hears 80s music, he really knows that Elaine's going to go in there and create a piece. And what's so funny, both of our processes doesn't change very much when we're here designing. The only difference is we're wearing AirPods, so we don't disturb anybody. But Patty will see me bopping in my seat, and I'll see her with her tea and just deep in her thought with her podcast. And sometimes I gotta hit her with a little rubber chicken that we have to get her attention. But we are both in our zones and creating, and we just do the similar process. We just have a little bit more respect when we're at work.
Absolutely. We do have a cache of little rubber chickens that we fling at each other to get our attention because you really do get deep in thought. And that's where you want to be when you're being creative.
Number 5, back to you, Patty. Have you ever combined 2 inspirations into one design?
I have. In fact, that's something I do really, really commonly. I can get inspiration from all over the place. I do internet searches. I look at social media platforms where people are posting jewelry that they've made. I really like independent designers and small designers and to see what they're doing, as well as runway fashion, that kind of thing. Then I'll take little pieces from each place and make a new design. I never copy over. I feel like that would not be a good practice at all. But I take elements and it makes it so fun. And it also keeps it very trendy and sellable, which is great. Recently I was asked to do a piece in the one line design style, which is, if you're an artist drawing, you put your pen or pencil down and you never pick it up and you just draw everything with one line. And I can do that with wire, being a wire artist. So if you look at the cat earrings that are on the screen right now, you can see that the heart there in the little rear end is something I took from one drawing I found online, the head from another drawing, the tail from another drawing, and then I made this wonderful new wire piece.
I often combined elements like that. Actually, I just recently was doing when I was making the sugar cookies. I actually looked at real sugar cookies and then looked at kawaii drawings and kind of combined the two. So I do similar types of stuff as well.
That's really great. And bringing them into taste is nice as well.
Yes, that's true. Number 6, Patty. Is there a particular piece you've designed that has a deep personal meaning to you?
There is. There's several, but the one that really came to mind asking this question is the one about my grandfather.
Oh.
So my grandfather growing up was really my safe space, and he was very, very special to me. He's kind of my person. And he's not with us anymore, but I wanted to honor him in a way. And there was a catalog that came up here at Fire Mountain where we were asked to create pieces based on personal stories. So that really sparked that idea for me. The focal is a slide transfer of him as a young man. It's one of my favorite pictures of him. He's so handsome. And all the stones in the piece are from different places that he's either associated with or lived in his life. So it's extremely personal and very special. It was a wonderful inspiration.
Yeah, Patty, that is an amazing story and piece. And now I want to do the same, incorporating my grandchildren.
Number 7, Elaine. What was the last thing you made to sell, and what was the inspiration behind that?
So the last thing I created to sell, and a collaboration that I met with Danielle at GG Sugar Plum Bakery in Grants Pass, was cupcakes that actually mimicked her real cupcakes. So we had met at Winterfest, and she invited me to do an event with her. So as you can see on the picture here, this is her real cupcake she baked, and then I made the cupcake earrings to match. It was a great opportunity. I was supporting a local business, and I got another avenue to sell my jewelry. So it was a great collaboration.
It was so fun just to go down to that event and see you out there on the sidewalk with your table and your craft oven, making your cute cupcake earrings that matched Danielle's cupcakes to the T. Literally, it's like someone took a shrink ray. I made them little. It was just a blast. I may have bought a couple. But I loved seeing you get that inspiration from a tangible thing right in front of you.
Yeah, and that's where probably what we're trying to say is that inspirations could come from anywhere. It could be all around you, and sometimes edible.
Sometimes edible.
Number 8.
Patty.
Have you ever experimented with unconventional materials in a design?
Absolutely. In fact, really early on, before I was a jewelry designer, I got fascinated with found object jewelry, which is where you take something you find that's not really for jewelry and you incorporate it in there. So when I was about 15 years old, I was at a street fair at the Russian River in Sonoma County, California. And there was a vendor there that had a whole island full of mahjong tile jewelry.
Mahjong.
Elaine taught me to play mahjong recently, and that was like a lifelong dream because of that jewelry, by the way. And it was selling great. People were coming up. People loved it because it was so unique, because it's not what you see in everyday jewelry. People love something different and unique. So that her getting that inspiration from game pieces like that was fantastic. And so I always kind of carried that forward with me, loving that. In fact, I actually have some Monopoly game pieces that I found at thrift recently that are sitting on my workbench at home, just waiting for me to discover what I'm going to do with them.
Okay, so Patty, you just made my heart sing because she got her inspiration from toys.
Yeah, I'm also a child at heart.
Number 9, Patty. So what's the most unexpected place or experience that sparked a new design idea?
Oh, this is a good story. I'm glad to get to tell this one. I'm glad this question was asked. So, years ago, probably 10 years ago, I was in line at the movie theater with my daughter. She's 15 at the time, I think. And there was a long line. And there was a gentleman in front of us with the most beautiful dreadlocks. And woven into them were these pieces that were bright, colorful cord and shell and metal. And I just fell in love with them. And I just stared at them a whole line. And finally, we're getting close to the front. And I just had to ask him if I could take a picture. And my daughter didn't want me to, of course. She was embarrassed. 15-year-olds don't like it when mom steps out of the box. But I did it anyway. And he was so happy to let me. And I did make a piece inspired by those beautiful pieces in his hair.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes you don't need teens to embarrass you. I embarrass myself sometimes because I find myself staring at either a bakery case or somewhere in the grocery store, meats or whatever, or canned goods. And I'll just be standing there, staring. And somebody will come up and ask me, "Do you need help?" No, I'm just trying to figure out how to make this in clay. So,
So great.
yeah.
Number 10, Elaine. How's your source of inspiration changed over the years? And if so, how?
Yes, it has. One, being a jewelry designer here has really changed my source of inspiration because I'm widely exposed now to many different things from coworkers, from past jewelry designers, pieces that I've seen, either on our catalog or online. Their designs of like, hey, I haven't tried that technique yet. What can I do to incorporate that into my next design? So inspirations like that really help me grow. And as growing as a person and a jewelry designer here at Fire Mountain Gems has really opened up my mind to actually look at inspirations in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really helped me grow.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, I know as a jewelry designer who's been working for more than 25 years, I know that as I've grown as a human being and an artist, my source of inspiration has changed greatly. As you develop your skill set and learn new techniques and learn to work with new materials, that just naturally kind of expands, and you have to just let your mind get outside the box and get out there and take your inspiration from all different places. It's so helpful, and it really helps you create something unique and special.
We hope hearing where we get our inspirations helps spark your new inspiration ideas. And if you have an inspiration that you've got in an unusual place, put it down in the comments. We'd love to hear your story.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and sign up for our email newsletter. The link to that is in the description box below.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
We'll see you next time.